Watch and you'll see if it's good to eat.
Hi, I'm Shidalu. You grew up hearing grandma say leftovers had to cool before going in the fridge.
Wrong.
That old food safety rule you've heard since childhood is actually pretty risky.
是大陆. We've always heard overnight leftovers, especially leafy greens, can cause cancer because of nitrites. You called it chemical panic. So nitrites aren't a risk? What should we actually fear?
Actually, what you said is something we hear all the time. Talking toxicity without dose is nonsense. In a way, that's cherry picking too. Take this, for example. Do leftovers left overnight produce nitrites? Actually, yes. But what never gets mentioned is the odds. And the odds are actually very, very, very low. In the stomach's acidic environment, nitrites can indeed react with some amines in food. Because there's protein in food, they can react and form this nasty carcinogen, nitrosamines. Now, back to this. Vegetables contain nitrates mainly because, during fertilization, or while plants absorb nutrients, they naturally take in nitrate compounds. But after absorption, it goes through photosynthesis and turns into other nutrients. So it's only temporary. There wasn't much there to begin with. That's where this rumor came from. For a while, were really popular. Plant factories and hydroponic vegetables use nutrient solutions that contain nitrates, so the plants absorb them directly. That's why people got concerned. But if there's enough light and photosynthesis is complete, then those levels stay within a safe range. And the chance they'll eventually turn into nitrosamines is very low. So there's really no need to worry much about nitrites forming. What you should worry about in the fridge instead is microorganisms.
If microbes are the real enemy, why can't we do what Grandma does? Let hot braised pork or Buddha jumps over the wall cool, then put it in the fridge.
What you really need to worry about is microbes. Here's why. In international food safety standards, there's a special term, it's called the temperature danger zone. TDZ for short. It means the range from 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. Why is 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius such a dangerous range? Mainly because in this range, these illness-causing microbes, for example, Bacillus cereus or other pathogens, this is the temperature range they like best. They enter exponential growth. That means after a while, say they reproduce every 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, 1 becomes 2. 5 more minutes, how many? 4, right? Then 5 more minutes, it becomes 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 512, then 1024, 2048. It just keeps doubling. This is called exponential growth. Then after a while, eat it and you'll definitely get diarrhea or even end up in the hospital. So this phase is extremely dangerous. We want to get through this phase as fast as possible. We can narrow the danger zone even further. Which temperatures are the riskiest? 30 to 45 degrees Celsius. So you need to get through it fast. That braised pork Grandma talks about, or leftovers, just sits there cooling down. By the time it cools and goes in the fridge, a lot of our Taiwanese dishes are high in fat and full of broth and sauce. It's basically food for microbes. And during that cooling process, for most of the time, it stays above 25 degrees Celsius. So leaving it at room temperature then means it's in that dangerous 30 to 45 range I mentioned. What you really need to do is cool it down fast and get it into the fridge. Honestly, in food processing plants, hot food goes straight into the fridge. If your fridge has plenty of space and isn't too old, honestly, that's what I do at home. I put it straight in while it's still hot.
Really?
Yeah, modern fridges have compressors strong enough. So if you put hot food in, at worst, it just warms nearby food a bit. So the fridge should be fairly empty. That's the first point. Second, if your fridge is really packed, like Grandma's fridge, then I wouldn't do that. That's because mainly, there isn't enough cold air circulation in your fridge, so your food can't cool down quickly. So we need some outside help. First, optimize the shape and volume. You really need to do this. Say you have a hot pot of stock. Like, I made a pot of chicken stock yesterday. We were making shabu shabu, and you always make a lot of broth for that. So we made a big pot. Afterward, about 3 liters were left. Once those 3 liters boil, that's the first kill step. After that, portion it out fast. Once you've portioned it out, you can maximize the surface area. Maximize cooling. There are a few ways to do that. For example, split it into several small containers. That gives it more surface area to cool. That's one way. But I actually prefer heat-safe bags. If you're sure your bag if it's made of PP and it won't melt or leach, once the temperature drops below 80 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Celsius is a key point. Then I bag it up. Put it straight into a plastic bag. Then what? Set it in the sink. Fill the sink with tap water. So your hot 80 degrees Celsius soup in a plastic bag with just a thin plastic layer is directly touching 20 degrees Celsius water. With this size and shape optimization, you can cool it down fast. Then drain the sink water. Then fill the sink again. After about 3 rounds, it'll be down to a very low temperature. The soup in that plastic bag will be about the same temperature as the tap water. Only then do I use ice. Then after the ice, I put it in the fridge. Seriously, this speed is much faster than cooling it in the fridge. Now if you want to optimize it even further, that's forced convection cooling. Do you have an ice maker at home? Most fridges should have ice, right? Just put it in. Or in my freezer, I keep some ice cubes. Then add the ice. But some people say, for hot soup, put it straight into a bowl of ice water. Yes, that is a good method. It's just that at home, it's harder to do. We do use that commercially, when there's an ice machine in a pro kitchen. That's how we do it. It's the fastest way. Okay, at this point, don't argue with me. This whole thing is very important. It has to be a PP bag. Second, the soup's temperature. Or hot food must cool below 80 degrees Celsius. Get a thermometer. Once you've got those two down, plastic leaching won't be an issue. If you can't do that, I'd suggest using food containers, okay?
Okay. We've safely cooled it in PP vacuum bags, but when it's time to eat, microwave reheating still freaks me out. How exactly should we reheat it so it's safe and avoid reheating it over and over?
Wow, that's a great question. I know what you're getting at. You do spend a lot of time wiping the microwave, right? And why do you keep wiping it? You never really know whether to use high, medium, or low power, or something like 800 watts, 500, 300, 200, or 100 watts. Then the second one, I just don't know how long to microwave it, right? So, we have to start with how microwaves work. First, microwaves heat liquids. So if your food has no liquid, the microwave is less effective. That's why, thawing frozen food in a microwave can be pretty hard. I'll add a little water around it. Because microwaves heat the water first, and use that heat to thaw the frozen food. Microwaves heat by penetration, so they don't start from the outside. They start heating from the inside. So a lot of the time, you need to keep moving the food you're microwaving. Otherwise, it'll just heat that one center spot. That's why most microwave ovens have a turntable. That's the reason. But this is how I do it. I don't place the food right in the middle, exactly in the center. I put it near the edge. Then every minute, I shift it a little, so that hot spot hits a different part of the food each time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but that's a hassle.
If you want something simpler, just trade time for ease. Use lower power and microwave it longer. That way it won't splatter. Next, here's my personal favorite. Though this may sound a little fancy, since not everyone has one. But ever since I switched to this new steam oven, I've found that newer steam ovens, it has a bunch of auto sensors built in. So you just toss it in and pick one. Heat or reheat. It picks the time for you. It picks the microwave setting, the power level. Sometimes it even adds steam.
Seriously? Wait, not sponsored, but I really want one. Sponsors are welcome.
I'm telling you, ever since I switched to this new steam oven, I haven't wiped the inside once. It's seriously perfect. It does everything for you. Even popcorn chicken turns crispy. It's amazing.
I want one so bad.
A sponsor shout out should go here. Or here.
Or call my number.
Or email me.
Even though we still don't have a sponsor, I still can't get past why it has to be plastic bags. What happened? Why you ended up using bags.
Look, I used containers too. I went through one after another. At first, I used the cheapest IKEA ones. You know, the ones in big sets.
Yeah.
Those plastic containers are great, right? They really are great. I can microwave them and all that. The only problem is they're really hard to clean. Once they get greasy, I go crazy. A whole bottle of dish soap just to wash 2 containers. But there are lots of really good tips online, like using a plastic bag to wash a plastic container.
Sounds weird.
But it really does seem to work. After plastic containers stopped working for me, I switched to glass containers. But glass containers, I don't know why, but they break so easily. And they're heavy too, so they're a hassle. Then eventually, I started using stainless steel containers. They're really good. They don't break when dropped, and they're even lighter than glass. And another plus with bigger stainless steel containers is I can put them straight on the stove and reheat them over a gas flame. That's nice too, but the problem with all these kinds of containers is their size is fixed. Its shape is fixed. So it's not very practical. In the end, I switched to plastic bags. The reason is, with plastic bags, whether it's a regular plastic bag or a zip-top bag, the advantage is they can change shape. So once it's filled, I can flatten it. Whether I'm freezing ground meat or stew or curry, I can flatten it. The benefit of flattening it is that, when I put it in the fridge, it cools faster. Because it gets the most exposure to cold air. And when I take it out to thaw, I can thaw it right in the bag. Put it in water. Or reheat it in the microwave. Either works fine. That's how I ended up doing it.
Lesson learned.
Alright, now you should get it. The real issue with overnight leftovers is the microbes in your fridge. Starting today, ditch that vague, let it cool before refrigerating rule. Send this episode to your grandma.
Comment if your fridge still has braised pork from 2023, lion's head meatballs from 2019, and those permanent, ever-multiplying 种子.
So scary, so scary. If you like our myth-busting, common-sense flipping content, check out our earlier episode. The episode about stir-fry and green bottle beer. It's a great one.
If you like this kind of science-based myth-busting, subscribe to Is This Good to Eat? Hit the notification bell. And thanks for subscribing all this time. We've surpassed our goal, but we still want to be even better. Please keep supporting us next year.
Let's go.